Hey, hey. All right. So, guys, this is part two. If you didn't see part one, I will put a free link there in the description box for you. But let's go ahead and pick up right where we left off in this collective message. Okay. So, I was asking, why now? Why is this divine masculine, this emperor, seemingly having this powerful awakening at this moment in time? And we have temperance. So there is a sense of peace, possibly just flooding into his senses, maybe a sense of peace about his life, about himself, about his maturity. We have the Fool and we have the Six of Pentacles. It certainly does look like he has um, the empowerment, I'll say, to also take a leap of faith toward, in this case, not just a relationship, a partnership, but they're like gold panning. So, looking for the best possible outcome. But he's found some kind of internal peace. That is our first and most important message, is that temperance card. Hi, guys. Lion Queen. So good to see you. Cholita in Chicago. Miss you guys, too. It's been a horrible week on my channel of all kinds of problems that I don't know are fixed yet. It's been a nightmare, you guys. I'm really not able to create content. Haven't been all week. So, and this is a repetitious problem. So, in any case, I've reached out and I'm hoping to have some, maybe some answers and maybe some resolutions. But right now, it seems a little bit better today. So, I'm going to try really hard to be able to put out content. We'll see. I don't know. I don't have an answer for why this is going on. But in any case, let's get to it. Let's have a good time when we can, how we can. So about her, okay, about her, let's see. We have a Two of Coins. We have a Seven of Cups. We have the Devil. We have the Queen of Cups. We have the Lovers. And we have the Five of Wands. So we have a lot of question mark, right? Really on either bookend, along with some toxicity. So this is like she remembers a lot of what happened between herself and them, and at the same time was very confused by it. It seemed pretty damn toxic. And remember, in part one, we had the devil on his side as well. But she says, yeah, but I loved that person. I remember a lot. And I also thought a lot about whatever the heck had happened, because it was toxic, but I had wanted them at one point, and I don't understand what the hell happened. Okay, so can I just ask this? Because remember, in part one, we saw the Page of Pentacles twice. And on both of those Page of Pentacles, what we saw was like written material, right? People that were writing things, people that were, and that's a card of communication. And so can I ask, Feminine, did you have some kind of communication with him, particularly recently? Ace of Wands, Six of Coins sideways. Okay, so whether this was purely in the energy realm or whether this was actual like written, documentation, this could be that both people reread old messages, or this could be that they thought heavily about one another, but there was definitely an exchange, right? So there has been, we'll say, contact between these two. Masculine, can we see on your side? Hi, Jen. Welcome, sweetheart. Here we go. Did you have direct communication with her? Ooh, Five of Swords. On their side, they may have reread a fight or an argument that they experienced with her. Lion Queen, you angel. Thank you so much. You are so generous, you guys. So good to see you. Thank you for that, Lion Queen. This is a blank card, right? And it's identical on either side. This was the standoff that they had. Okay, so he has been, I think, rereading and maybe putting himself in her shoes to a certain extent. What do you want to say to her? How about if we shift gears? What after reviewing things, thinking about things, having this awakening, what is it that you would want to say to her? The Moon and the Page of Cups. I'm sorry for keeping you in the dark about my feelings. I'm sorry for keeping you in the dark in general. I'm sorry for not telling you how I felt about you, that you are this wild, wonderful woman who dances under the moon. And oh my God, my heart's never howled for anybody as much as for you. I'm sorry I didn't tell you those things. Did you keep secrets from her? Yeah, that she was my fucking empress. I'm sorry I didn't tell her that she's the person that I wanted. Do you know why you didn't have the ability to tell her those things? Queen of Swords. She had boundaries, and maybe her expectations were pretty clear. And maybe he didn't feel up to snuff, didn't feel up to the task of facing. It's almost like he's saying, like, I didn't feel good enough to marry her, even though that's what I wanted to do. But that would have opened up some weird dialogue about, I don't get it. You see me as an empress, but you don't want me. Because why? This is probably the thing he didn't want to talk about, the Nine of Wands. Because she would have asked, very pinpointed questions. And I do feel like he does. This was all in the past, right? This is him reviewing old messages. I don't think that these two have actually communicated. I think this is one where they recently have either reread old messages or they just energetically have thought about one another. But he is, his thought process is like taking him back in time to what I should have done, how I should have said something to her. I'm sorry that I kept secrets from you. I'm sorry that the big thing I didn't want to tell you at the time, especially, is that you're an empress, because that would have prompted you to say, so what the heck are you doing with me? I don't get what is this that holds you back? They didn't want to talk about their wounds with that Nine of Wands. Whatever this is, they chose to keep their own, they wanted to keep their life as it was because that's where they felt safe. With the Hanged Man, I'm not going to be willing to make any big changes. I look at how puffy and huge this coat is. What's he got under that jacket, right? Like, it's like you got 17 layers of big fluffy sweaters on underneath. And if those are the wounds that you've been hiding under your gigantic cloak, and you didn't want to have to start unpacking that, and you knew if you're going to be in a relationship with that kind of an empress in particular, she's going to want to get to know all about you. So the very nature of him knowing she was like the one was exactly the reason he stayed away from her, which is very counterintuitive. But that is, look, I can't pretend I understand this because I don't, but I will say he did not want to be like exposed. He did not want his wounds exposed. He did not want his secrets of whatever he was ashamed of, embarrassed of, felt were tragic moments in his own life. He did not want her seeing any of that. He found a way to cope. And how do I cope? I wear this gigantic trench coat over all of it, and that's how I want it to stay. And if I'm around you, you're gonna either get to know me so well that you know all of that, and I don't want anybody to know all that, and I don't want to have to face it or verbalize it because I locked it away in a vault, and that's where it stays. So I think that's kind of why he, at least in this storyline, that's why he shut down from the empress that he actually wanted. Now at this point, reviewing all of this, going over all of this, and understanding, like, that's the call I made. And now I feel way more peaceful, and I'm able to look back and say, oh my God, I know why I did what I did. I know why I stayed away from her. Again, my first question was, why is he having this awakening at this point in time? And it's because he's peaceful, that temperance supersedes the Nine of Wands. Once upon a time, there were way too many scars and wounds that he wanted to heal or hide, and now he's seemingly has healed from a lot of those. I think that makes sense why she says, I have no idea what the heck happened with him. It was very confusing. I loved him, but it was super toxic. Let me just ask this. Feminine, at this point in time, is he on your mind at all? Or, do you want anything with him? Or have you just like moved on in life and you're in a forward progress? The Tower and the Ace of Pentacles. I see her moving on. I see her actually, she's come to the end of the road on this entire thought process, and her life is starting fresh. She's surrendered this. He's no longer her wish. She doesn't have dreams about him anymore. She's just freed herself from this, which is fantastic. I feel like there's a huge amount of like relief in this storyline for her. She's not, burdened by this. Emperor, Knight of Pentacles, she's like, that's cool. Honestly, if he becomes a terrific emperor, that's awesome. Now, too late for us. because I definitely moved on from this, and I personally am looking for an emperor. If he's become one, that's great. I don't actually see him as my emperor, though. You see, I've come to the end of the road of my thoughts about him and could just wish him well. Whatever happens in his life, of course I wish him the best. But for me, no, I have no illusions, and I'm not stuck thinking it's him I'm ending up with. There's two different, ferns that are about to unfurl. I really think she came to the end of the road in her, not her ability to wish him well, which means they're still caring, but the amount of thought she'll ever like give to him is pretty much over, other than to be like, yeah, peace out. Hope you're great. Anyway, it's been a long, slow road for me to move on from this. And I finally have, and I'm really ready for something new. I'm ready for an emperor. I think, I know all throughout the first part of this storyline, he has shown up as the emperor ready to be with an empress. She is at a point where she's going to be with an emperor, but in no way, shape, or form does she imagine that it's him or supposed to be him or wants it to be him. She's good without him now. And I think it's probably because of all of those cards of confusion, right? I have no idea. I look back at my memory bank and I couldn't figure out what the hell was up. 7 of Cups, 2 of Coins. Once again, 5 of Wands, thinking around in circles. Lovers, yeah, I have a lot of memories of him because I know he wanted to be with me, but my God, what the hell was this gigantic, devil ram's head doing sitting in the middle of the relationship? It was impossible to tell. I don't know what it was. That is where she's just done wondering now. It doesn't impact her anymore. And I would say that's a really good indicator that, because she moves on not with scars, but she moves on and is just like, hey, I don't know, but I don't have to try to solve the mystery anymore. And we know that there was a mystery, because that was one of the first things when I said, what would you want to say to her now? And it's like, I'm sorry that I hid things from her. There was a lot hidden, and there was a lot that she could never wrap her head around, but she doesn't care to wrap her head around it anymore. I think that's huge testament to the fact that she's really moved on. So, what it boils down to then, since he's having all of these moments of awareness, and we saw him keep coming out as an emperor, and we see him leaving the toxic behavior that he himself operated as in the past, and operating as an emperor and moving forward like this, what is your next move? Because you've been sitting here reviewing old messages from her. You've been sitting here thinking heavily about the entire situation of the past. At the same time, she's kind of gone. She's had plenty of time to heal. What does that mean for you? We have a Prince of Wands sideways. This is, someone sending up the smoke signal, maybe connecting to their, like sending out a message more or less, but it's sideways. There is a message coming from their heart that is being carried on the wind. I'm not saying he's doing anything other than his thoughts are heavily turned toward her, and he is sending out messages, on the wind to her. And what I mean by that is just like in a poetic sense, he is sending out his energy and his ideas toward her. We have the 3 of Swords, and that is upright. It may be that he is saying, Ace of Swords, I want to talk. With that Ace of Swords in particular, he's got something to say, and it's about heartbreak. Maybe it's about heartbreak that he believes he caused her, or maybe it's, I don't know. I feel like it's all about himself wanting to say something to her, like to stand up and explain. Like, you notice how he's cut down his own tree. This tree of life, this way he was living, which was so cracked. You notice that this was like a tree that got struck by lightning, and the whole thing was fractured anyway. But he had to cut out his, whatever happened to him, whether it was betrayals in his own life, hurts that he endured. He's changing his own dialogue, is what I think it is. And he wants to at least tell her that. Like, he's having the awakening, and he is sending out that message again more energetically than with words. And especially with the High Priestess, it's more energetic. So it's important right now that he's like, I'm better now. All the things I should have told you, all the things I wanted to keep from you, to the point where I would rather have not been with you than let you really get to know me. That has changed inside of me now. I'm not that person anymore, which is, that's big. That's huge. The Fool. Now I could step across and I could really talk to you. Now I could do all this. He's basically, what I think is that he's kind of excited and he's happy and he's having these breakthroughs. And it's like, of course he wants to share those things with her. He's thinking about her, obviously. Are you intending on taking any action toward her? Because again, I feel like she's left this. We have the Tower. I would say anytime we get a Tower, we have the flow of energy now. We have communication that will come through. We have like energy that will absolutely flow because the guardrails are gone, or the thing that kept him silent has been removed. So yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before he winds up doing more than just sending thoughts her way. You know, we have this lava from this volcano that's literally flowing. And I'm like, yeah, his energy is going to do more than just, you know, think in her direction. His energy is going to touch her life, probably with communication at some point. I don't know how swiftly. What about for her? I really do want this deck again, so we're going to go with it. And I don't see him like holding anything back, but with her, where are you at, feminine? 5 of Pentacles. She's put the memory of him and the rose that was left out in the frozen cold. She's locked it up and it's somewhere in the basement now, right? Look at it. It's way down low. It's not a priority on her mind. Does she remember that? She does. Does it rule her life? No. The memory of this confusion, this missed opportunity, she seems to have chalked it up to, it was an experience that I don't understand why I had to have it, but in the grand scheme of things, the universe must understand. And I think she gave it to God or gave it to the cosmos and just said, it is what it is. I don't have answers, but not everything is about me either. So universe, for whatever the reason, if I one day find out why I even met them, I guess you'll tell me. And if not, I can accept that maybe there was something for them in it and it wasn't for me. So, you know, I always say this, if you are the person who ends up depleted after a relationship, it's probably because you were the giver in it. The same way you think of like a teacher who's teaching in a classroom all day long. I've never been a teacher like that, but I can imagine they are exhausted by the time they go home because they gave their knowledge to the class. So I would just say she maybe has chalked it up that way and said, I don't know. Maybe I was exhausted, not because it was my lesson, but because I maybe helped them. I don't know. Universe, I assume it went the way it was supposed to. Anyway, back to my 10 of Cups, my pursuit of the 10 of Cups. I do not see her thinking that they are a part of her future at all, at all, at all. Final message on this then, just for her. We have a Page of Swords sideways. We have somebody who's graduated. They're standing on the top of all these books. They're holding that little wish puffer here. This situation, there has been a lot learned in this. She learned how to just accept certain things and let herself move on and quest for happiness. He learned how to stop maybe blocking things and preventing himself from having any of the successes that he actually wanted in life. With what they've learned, they will change the way they apply things in their life. Is there still a potential for these two to be together? There is, but I would just say it's going to depend a lot upon probably this and this on his part. If he is headed her direction with no ego up and wanting to bridge the gap and come back into her life, and he's a true emperor, he's probably not going to stop pursuing her, period. I mean, unless she tells him I flat out don't want to talk to you. Otherwise, I think he is going to be in hot pursuit of her and will not stop until he wins her back. Otherwise, if she's like, no, I want somebody else, some other emperor, he will have to step back. But I could see them ending up together still, depending on how much effort is put in. All right, you guys, I have to bounce out because I can't let these videos get long. It's another part of the whole problem I'm facing right now. Love you guys. I will see you again shortly. I hope if today continues on. Electro Beats, thank you so much, you guys. I'll say hi to you in the next video.